Good morning, everybody. I had a few of you having questions and concerns about your color chart, so I'm going to do just a really quick demo to show you how to set that up and just some of that layering. I won't do the entire thing, but this should give you a general idea. In our ideal world, we would be doing this on tone paper, but since most of us don't have that, I'm going to demo it on a regular white sketchbook. Sketchbook I have here is an 11 by 14 inch sketchbook. If you have something smaller, I'm going to show you how to scale this project for that size. All right, so what I did to start with is I just measured out a grid that is inch squares. So we did a 10 by 12 inch grid. Now you guys have a full package of 12 colors here. This is what you were sent from school. So if you have that, if you took that home, that is excellent. That's what you should be using. If you don't have that, use the colors you have and make your grid. Let's say you only have 6 colors. Well, make your grid 6 colors, all right? But if you have our whole set, go ahead and try this whole exploration, all right? Another thing that I wanted to show you is that color pencils do come in stick form too. So these are, let's see if we can get it open. This is a Prisma Color Art Sticks. So this is the same set of 12 that we got in pencil form, just without the wood. And so if you're someone who's interested in doing large-scale color pencil drawings, these are great to really fill a field quickly versus using that pencil. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys those real quick. All right, you can see that I started my grid already for the sake of time. So what I have used is I've got up top, I've got our red, which is called Rogue Crimson. Next I did our orange, then our yellow, which they are calling Canary. Then I did our light green, and I can't find my green pencil, so I used that one. So the next color we're going to do is our Bleu Franc, then our Blue Violet, followed by the purple, and then our Sienna Brown, and then the dark brown. Okay, that's what's going to go this way. Now the same thing occurs on this side. So I've got my red, my orange, my yellow, I have my light green, my dark green, then I'm going to go with that light blue, the blue violet, the violet, our sienna brown, our dark brown, then I'm going to throw in the black and the white on the long side. Okay, so I'm going to demo a couple of the blues on here, and then I'll show you one more approach. All right, so you can see that when I've done the chart so far, I'm carrying each hue all the way across and then building it up. So I'm not doing square by square. And this is what I was talking about, where we don't want a halo around each one of those cubes, that we want those colors to touch, and then we really see how they interact. So part of this exercise is really to see how the physical mixing of colors when you layer them with color pencils occur, and then also more practice just in layering color. All right, so you can see when we get to our greens over our reds, which are complementary pairs, how that affects it. When you have a light green over a yellow, we get a kind of that mix in between that we would see on the color wheel. All of these going right down the center are that pure color. So this is where yellow and yellow meet. This is where that light green meet, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is a physical mixing that is occurring through layering. So as I show you, just real quick with my light blue here, I'm going to go right up to that edge. I'm not using a lot of pressure. I'm going to keep the marks so that there's not a ton of overlap, and I'm starting really light and gently to get that even coverage throughout. I make sure I'm going right to the edge of each one of those divisions in my quadrant. And I find, here when we're doing this on white paper, we really see those differences that occur, that white is really affecting how we read that overall value of each color. So where you've got kind of streaks happening or irregularities in application, keep going over with slow, smooth strokes till you have that even coverage. All right, and you can see how we get that these blues over purples, we start to see, those blues over reds, we start to see those purples start to be created. So I've done that whole way down. Now I'm going to come down here and I do the same thing. So you really end up with a double block of all of these. But for now, it's the best way I've found for you to kind of see how those mixes occur. All right, so good, even coverage. Again, starting out really light, and I'm going right to the line, so I'm not leaving any halo, and that lets us see how one color right butted up next to each other, how they interact with one another. And then this one in the center is where we see that pure color, where it has overlapped itself, and that gives us that clear sense. My pencil is getting dull. All right, so I'd carry that all the way down, nice even coverage. Put that one to the side. Now I'm going to go to my violet blue and do the same thing. So I go to that next square in the quadrant, trying not to press too hard like I just did. Going right to my edge. Nice even coat. You can see how the colors start to affect each other. Trying to make it not look streaky. Pulling it across. Do it this way. And then we'll do it the one more, and then I'll move to the next sheet. So you can see how this is going to take your entire sheet of paper at this 1 inch by 1 inch scale. And that's all right. In the example, we had larger pieces of paper, so you were able to do complementary pairs on a separate sheet. And I'll show you guys that in a second. So you'll probably find you'll go over each one of these a couple times. I'm doing it quick for the sake of time. But it's good practice to think about how you're going to layer those colors as you build actual forms. Remember, we don't want to just go right to that darkest, hardest pressure as we build the colored pencils. I'm going to go over my pure purple block just a little bit more. All right, so that's how we do that slow build out. Then next I go to the violet, and then I move into my brown sienna, and then that dark brown, black and white. All right, so let me show you this on the half scale. So some of you have smaller sketchbooks, and that's all right. So this is the exact same chart done at 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. So if your sketchbook is only about this big, this will fit on there. And here you can see I've gone a little bit farther down. So this is with that sienna brown, this is with the dark brown. On this side, we've gone each one of those colors, but you'll notice on the long side, we still have room. That's where your black and your white is gonna come in. Okay, so we're only doing that on one side. It's rare that I'm gonna have you use black. Sometimes we need to use that black pencil, that black marker, black paint. But you'll see how we get all this interesting chromatic shadows when we layer the colors over top of each other. And when we put black right down on top of all the colors, we really lose all of that chroma, all that color. Now, if I did a few layers over top of it, we might be able to bring some of those colors back, but just the domination of the value of the black makes those other hues have a tough time to compete with that. Okay, and then if I'm bringing my white over top, you'll see that it works a lot like a blending tool. And I'm pressing pretty hard with that white, and so then you can see really how that affects the color versus some of these others. So this whole chart is what this big guy will end up looking like as well as you complete those steps. Okay, so remember, this scale is if you have a smaller piece of paper or sketchbook. So the other thing I want to show you is to do the complementary pairs. So let's see, we're going to do the violet and the yellow pair. So this is something, if you have, if you want to do the small chart on a big sheet, you can do them right here. If you have your big sketchbook, you just go to the next page and you can do them there as well. Okay, so this will start out where you can pre-measure out a 1 inch by 1 inch square. You can also do it more freehand. And I'm starting at the top here, pushing down pretty hard with my yellow. And then as I go towards what's going to be the center and more of that physical mixing, then I'm going to do a lot less pressure. And I'm going to bring that down about that far. That's probably about 4 or 5 inches. Then on my violet end here, again, pushing down relatively hard. And as I get closer to that yellow center where that mixing is going to occur, I'm going to do less and less of that violet. And less pressure. And that's just going to allow us to see kind of that value shift and then what happens with that physical mixing that occurs as well. So we talked about how to use those complementary pairs as a shadow. Let's do our blue. We'll try it with that blue violet and our orange. This might be a little too far on that purple end, but we'll see. Same thing, pressing hard and then lightening up that pressure, because this is where that mix is going to occur. Then I'm going to take my orange, and you know that some of these complementary pairs in color pencil form work easier with each other to get that neutral. All right, and let's try our red real quick. Let's see. See if we can get our red-green complementary pair to work for us slightly. Pressing down harder, lightening up as I go. I'll use our that lighter green. Usually reds and greens work really well with this mixing to a neutral, so we'll see how we do. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, so I hope that clarifies a little bit.